Hey everyone, this is Corey with Casual EDC, and today we're going to be taking a quick look at the SOG Terminus XR. So the XR lock, which is what you see here on this knife, is SOG's version of an axis lock. I'm going to talk about that briefly here while we bring in a little bit of a size comparison with the Benchmade bug out on top. Sorry, as I bumped the camera there. And the Victorinox Cadet, which is the 84mm model. A couple of years ago, the axis lock patent expired, so a lot of companies started coming up with their own designs, giving them different names, and here we have the XR lock, which is what SOG is rolling with, functioning very much the same as a Benchmade bug out, maybe a little bit different internally. I have not taken this apart to take a look, but overall functioning in the same way, being that you pull down a bar and it slides down, and that unlocks the knife and it drops freely. Very similar to a axis lock, so we're going to consider it very much the same just for the sake of this review. So we know it is a fairly good locking system, and it seems to be executed pretty well here by SOG. Overall size on this guy is going to be 7 inches. It's with a blade length of 3 inches. You're looking at a blade thickness of 0.11 inches, so pretty thin, all things considered, not too thick. Looks a little bit chunky down here, but it's really not. The camera's making it look a little bit heavier than it is. You know, they say the camera adds 10 pounds, right? Something like that. You got a hollow grind here. This one is in S35VN, which you can see marked on the blade. Hopefully that is in focus. They also make one of these in G10 handles opposed to carbon fiber like this one has, and D2 steel. This one comes in at $85, and the D2 versions come in at $55. Also, a big thank you to one of our viewers, Jeremy, for sending this guy along, as well as a few other knives. Thank you, Jeremy, for letting me check these out. Really appreciate that. Handle length, 4 inches on this guy with a thickness of 0.45 inches. So less than half an inch, which is pretty thin, all things considered. Fills the hand pretty well and comes in at a weight of 3.32 ounces. So just a little bit over that ounce and inch mark that a lot of people like to see, but still fairly lightweight, especially considering the carbon fiber here. And that it's a smaller knife, the weight really has not been an issue on this guy. So this knife, for me, was an interesting one to review. I liked it a lot when I unboxed it, just with the shape, the size of it, and the operation of this lock is really smooth. This one is on bearings, so it is definitely extra smooth here. As you can see it dropping shut on its own. I missed the flip. The springs are a little bit strong. That's one of the things that I kind of have gripes with about this one. So it makes the thumb studs a little bit harder to use. It's like overcoming a strong detent using either one of those. So a little bit of an annoyance there, but nothing too bad. Nothing worth complaining too much about. But what really was interesting with this knife for me was cutting with it, which, of course, you want to cut with a knife. That's what it's for. So I did mention that it has a hollow grind, but it is not all that thin behind the edge. It is pretty thick, all things considered. This one, which I have the Cold Steel 8015 here from Jeremy as well, they're almost the same thickness behind the edge. I don't know if I'm going to have a good way of showing this off, but if you can see there, the edges are almost identical, which is a little bit concerning here with SOG. Cold Steel was a flat grind, and this being a hollow grind, you should be seeing a thinner edge, but the grind is really short on this guy. You can see it's only from here to there, so it's not a whole lot of area to thin the blade out. And despite being only 0.11 inches thick on the blade stock, the grind just isn't super thin at the edge, so I found it getting hung up in cardboard just a little bit. It cuts really well when you get it going, but sometimes you just hit a certain angle or a longer cut, and this one might want to drag a little bit. So that's really my complaint with this one, as well as that slightly strong detent. Just one of those little things that I think if you wanted this knife and really liked the design, and if you wanted to put the money into it to have this blade reground to be even thinner, that would probably be a really great EDC knife, because this does fit the hand really well. This jimping is really good. I feel pretty locked in, not going anywhere, trying to move my thumb, and it is just holding on for dear life. A little bit of an area you can choke up if you want. I just stayed back on the handle here. You can see I can just get all 4 fingers on here. I like having my thumb on the back. Made it very easy to cut with. This has a very deep carry clip, deeper than the entire knife, really. One of the things I don't like about this clip is that it says SOG on it. So I'm just making sure I'm orienting this correctly. You can see it there in the light. So that prints on your pocket, which is a little bit annoying having a branded clip, but not the end of the world. But yeah, this is a weird one. Like I said, I think this with a thinner edge would have been a lot better of a knife. It cuts all right. It's definitely sharp. It's got good steel. It's under $100. It's got a lot of things going for it. But that grind, I think, could just be thinner, make it much more EDC friendly, because this is definitely an EDC intended blade. 3 inches, pretty thin stock. You know, it's a smaller handle, deep carry clip. You're not ready to whip this out for quick deployment and self-defense. This is something that you drop in your pocket and forget about for, you know, opening boxes, opening letters, whatever it might be. So, I don't know, I think SOG could have done just a little bit of a better job with this, but what they have here isn't too bad, honestly. I think if you're going to get one of these, just go with the D2 version, because if you don't like it, it's $50 or $55 versus $85. You still get the lock, you get G10, which this is just carbon fiber over G10 anyway. So the blade steel is really your only difference there in price, and D2 is just fine as long as you don't live somewhere that you're gonna be exposing it to like salt water or anything too crazy. It'll do you just fine. Strop it up. It's a really easy steel to sharpen, especially compared to S35, which isn't bad at all, but D2 is definitely a little bit easier. You know, overall, it's a really interesting little knife. The lock is done really well, which I can say a good job there by SOG. You know, very nice steel liners, little backspacer in the back with G10. So it's a solidly built little knife. I'm not worried about abusing this kind of a knife at all, given its build quality. I can feel that it's built well, but I just wish that edge was a little bit thinner, a little bit more EDC friendly. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and let me know what your thoughts are on the Terminus XR, because if other people out there have it besides Jeremy, which Jeremy, you can obviously share your input as well, which I'm sure you'll see this video. Let us know what you think, because I'm curious how everyone feels about the grind especially. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Take care.